I changed my mind again. This should be no surprise to you. Don't be embarrassed if you need to go down a path for as much time as you need to go down a path to realize, wait, oops, that isn't for me. Sometimes you have to take action and you have to get far enough down, get enough data and say, you know what? I'm so glad that I went down this path because it gave me enough information to decide that's not for me. Now what do I want to do? And I think sometimes in our culture, we have this like sunk cost fallacy where we think about how much time was invested into something. So we should just stay in it, whether that's a career or a business or a product or a program or a podcast that we launched. But when something doesn't feel aligned, permission granted to yourself, like I hope you can give this to yourself to just say, you know what, this is not working for me anymore. I need to pivot. I need to change my mind because you've got one shot here. And I want you to be fully lit up and excited. That's going to make you enjoy your life more. That's going to make other people around you benefit as a byproduct because you're more lit up. If you're also a parent, that's going to make your kids get to see that modeled through you, that you're excited. So I changed my mind again. This should be no surprise to you. So I'm back, girl, to tell you that I'm excited to be back on this mic on this show is a drastic understatement. And I have so much to catch you up on if you have been a listener of this show. And if you're brand new, I'm excited that you're here. I'm Keisha, and boy, are we getting into the juice today. I've got some life updates, and really, I hope that you leave this episode just feeling inspired to, at any point in time, change your damn mind on what you want, on what's aligned for you, on what's going to light you up, because we have one shot here. And I want you to live your life in a way that feels really freaking exciting to you. And sometimes that means you got to go down a path for a second and be like, oh shit, this isn't the path that I wanted to go down, and then pivot. And that's literally what I'm showing you in real time that I just did. So we've got a lot to catch up on. And I have the most exciting news of all time that I can't wait to share with you. So first, for a little bit of context, if you've been a listener of the show, you know that in June of this past year, so 2025, 6 months ago at the time that I'm recording this, I decided to close empowerHER. This is a show that I had released, 2 episodes a week of for 6.5 years, huge community built off this show that I love so much. And, it had really just been so fulfilling and impactful. But I was feeling this pull that I was honestly just really confused about what I wanted to do next. And I felt like I was changing my mind so quickly that I needed to have some space off the mic to take a full break and figure out what the hell I wanted to do next. At the time, I had come off of 2 back-to-back miscarriages that really rocked me, canceling an event that I had put together because I just felt like the second miscarriage in particular just really rocked me so much. I was like, I don't even know what I want to do. At that time, my husband, Sina, had just started his company, which was a brand new startup called RentUp. And since I was so confused about what I wanted to do for my business and what I wanted to do moving forward, he asked me to come in as a co-founder. And that's where we left it in June. Well, a lot has happened since June. Isn't it funny when you look back on your last 6 months or even a year, and some years more than ever, like for me, 2025, maybe for you, 2025 too, it feels like I've lived 100 lives where I'm like, oh, wow, I can't even believe that was a year ago. Anyway, in June, the last episode that I recorded, I shared that I was going to be, doing RentUp with my husband. A couple weeks in, I realized it's not for me. I have a toddler, and I think that part of the reason why I joined RentUp and decided to build it with my husband is because it was a shiny new thing. And I was in a lot of grief, right? 2 back-to-back miscarriages. If you've been through that, my heart goes out to you. It's so, even 1 miscarriage, a fertility journey in general. It's just it's so much when it's something that you really, really want, and it's just not happening the way that you want it to. And it's not something that you can work really hard for, or you can pay for, or whatever. It was just really overwhelming to me. And so instead of letting myself grieve and go through the process, I think looking back, I can see that I jumped to the next shiny thing that could get me excited so that I wouldn't have to deal with the pain of just the pain that I was going through, honestly. And so a few weeks into that, around July, I was like, honestly, this is not for me either. Building this business with my husband, I love working with him actually. We've done a lot in the real estate space together, just with our investment portfolio. And we have another podcast that we've created that's actually launching up again in January called Get Investing, our last name, Get Mary, about investing. So I love that, but he's building a company that helps fill apartment vacancies. And it just doesn't light me up. Like I have to be like lit up and really excited about what I'm doing. It's a great business, but just not for me. So I kick myself out of that business. I decide I'm going to swing the pendulum and go into full-time mom mode. That was really exciting at first because honestly, like I'm someone that really loves toddlers. So hanging out with the toddler is really fun. And my son Brody is like the coolest little kid and he's so goofy and like he's really so fun. So for a few months, I was really just focused on being in mom mode. I didn't have my podcast. I closed all my coaching and my programs and my events and everything and just really swung the pendulum so far the other direction to be in full-time mom mode. And a few months into that, I was like, I need something else. Like I feel most fulfilled and lit up by creating things and pouring into community and challenging myself and growing. And as much as there is so much growth in being a parent, it just didn't feel like I was like fulfilling myself in all avenues in the way that I wanted to. So I decided to start another podcast called The Seasons. So I was really excited about that when I started it because I was going to talk about the integration of motherhood and ambition and the seasonality of ambition. And I think talking about that and how much we change as moms and how ambition is not just how you show up in your career or your business, but it can also be how you show up in your motherhood journey or your female friendships or your marriage or your health and all the things. It's a really important topic. But about 4 episodes into that podcast, even though I was loving recording it, I felt like something was missing. And what was missing is that it was too niched for me. It was too focused on motherhood. And, I'm a toddler mom and I'm pregnant. Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting to feel like so emotional when I just said that to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, this might not turn into a cute cry. At the time that I'm recording this, I'm almost 11 weeks pregnant. And to tell you to end this year being 11 weeks pregnant, I've seen the heartbeat twice on the ultrasound. We're so excited. After starting this year with 2 back-to-back miscarriages, like I'm so grateful. And for those of you that are on a fertility journey, again, like my heart goes out to you. It's so hard. It's been one of the most hard things that I've been through. But to be sitting here, I'm just like so proud of myself that I didn't give up on that vision. We've always wanted to have 2 kids. So I'm just like, I'm so grateful. And I'm so just blessed to be sitting here pregnant, finishing up my first trimester. I guess at the time that you're listening to this, you might have seen the cute Instagram post that I posted. We took pictures with my son in his Big Brother t-shirt. And oh my gosh, that was just full circle in itself. Anyway, I'm excited to share that news with you. Back to the story. So, I have a toddler and I'm pregnant. So obviously motherhood is on my mind so often, and talking about it and building a whole podcast around those conversations felt like it was limiting to me. I honestly started to feel like I was shoving myself into a box, and I let myself just drift off. And I was like, hey, if I could do anything and if I could talk about anything, what would I want to talk about? And I was like, well, I want to talk about relationships and friendships and marriage and health and emotional health. And I want to talk to men and women. I want to talk about motherhood and ambition and career and mindset, all the things that I talked about on this show for 6.5 years. And I was like, you know what? I've modeled for years. If you and I have been connected for a while, I've modeled for years about how important it is to pivot and unapologetically change your mind and evolve. So when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I'm closing the seasons. That served me. Recording those 4 episodes and ideating on that vision and getting to start to think about how I would build that out and what I would create from it. It fulfilled what it was supposed to fulfill. And I just want to say unapologetically, don't be embarrassed if you need to go down a path for as much time as you need to go down a path to realize, wait, oops, that isn't for me. Sometimes you have to take action and you have to get far enough down, get enough data and say, you know what? I'm so glad that I went down this path because it gave me enough information to decide that's not for me. Now what do I want to do? And I think sometimes in our culture, we have this sunk cost fallacy where we think about how much time was invested into something. So we should just stay in it, whether that's a career or a business or a product or a program or a podcast that we launched. But when something doesn't feel aligned, permission granted to yourself. Like, I hope you can give this to yourself to just say, you know what? This is not working for me anymore. I need to pivot. I need to change my mind because you've got one shot here. And I want you to be fully lit up and excited. That's going to make you enjoy your life more. That's going to make other people around you benefit as a byproduct because you're more lit up. If you're also a parent, that's going to make your kids get to see that modeled through you, that you're excited. So I changed my mind again. This should be no surprise to you. So I'm back on this podcast and I'm excited because I feel like that 6-month break for me to evolve and really test some things out has helped me grow so much. And honestly, like, I've really gotten to experience the full spectrum of human emotions more than I even realized because I let myself grieve. And I also let myself just drift off into this other version of me that was like, what would it feel like if I just burned down my business? And I tested that out. And to be honest with you, it's not my vibe. It's not my vibe. I'm someone who really wants to do both, right? I really want to be a present mom. And that's something I'm so excited about. But I also really love building business. And I have been surprisingly lit up by this pregnancy. Of course, here's the irony. I found out that I was pregnant on October 28th, and I launched the Seasons podcast literally the next day. And I had already recorded a couple of the episodes. And something about, like, once I got past that like early stage, you know, which can be a little bit anxiety inducing, especially if you've had a prior miscarriage. Once I got past that stage and we saw the heartbeat, and it's almost like it hit me that I was having another baby, which, like, I don't know, you know, like, I started to believe that I was having another baby. And I realized, wait a second, I am going to be a mom of 2 kids. That feels like a lot of kids. And I know there are some of you listening in that have more than 2 kids, but it started to make me think about how much I want to figure out what I'm excited about right now before moving into the stage of having a toddler and a newborn. And that I want to get myself super just like lit up about my career. I literally, if you're watching this on YouTube, I just smacked my Britney Spears headset. It almost just went flying, but we're here. We're good. I'm not out of practice for that long. And, you know, it made me so lit up, and it made me start to ask myself, like, what do I want to model? Well, I really do want to model, you know, channeling my ambition in whatever areas feel aligned for me. And I'm just feeling so excited to be back on this mic, to be having conversations with you. I'm now going down the path of getting my real estate license. At the time that I'm recording this, I'm almost done with like 168 hours of coursework. And I'm going to be taking my test at the beginning of January to become a Colorado licensed agent. This is something that's been like in the back of my head for a really long time. I love real estate. We have like a real estate portfolio of rentals. And I just like really love people, and I love sales. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I just tried out real estate? And sometimes, like, when you've done something for a really long time in a different arena, it's easy to say, well, no, like, this is what I know, right? You know, I've earned millions of dollars in courses and memberships and masterminds and events and podcast sponsorships and keynote speaking. I've done this stuff for so long, right? Where it's like, well, I could just keep doing this stuff, and I will do some of this stuff. But there's part of me that just really wants to be challenged in a different way. And for whatever reason, this pregnancy has really just like ignited this spark where I'm like, I'm going for it. I'm going to figure this out. I got like 6 months to get this real estate stuff started, and then a maternity leave. And like, I don't know, I'm just feeling so pumped and lit up. So it's almost like how I'm feeling now doesn't even match the season that I was in 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago when I started the Seasons podcast. Like, I just feel different. And one of the things that I've really been thinking a lot about is how multidimensional we are as women. That some of us are just not called to shove ourselves into a box and niche. Like, you hear about like, you need to focus, or like, what's your one thing, or what's the thing you want to be known for? And it's like, I just want to be doing a lot of stuff. I want to be known for the fact that when something doesn't feel aligned for me, I unapologetically change my mind, because I know that our days are numbered here and I don't know the count, and I want to be excited, which means I've swung the pendulum full time into mom mode, and I loved it. And as soon as it started to feel like that wasn't right for me to make me feel fully lit up because I wanted something else, I tried something else. And when I launched that podcast, and I was like, shoot, I've got a couple episodes under my belt, and I've, told everybody about this and whatever. I'm like, but I'm changing my mind. Great. I changed my mind, and now I'm back. And I don't know. I just want to remind you that you always have that choice too. And sometimes I feel like we get so stuck in our way of the path that we've been going down that we don't even ask ourselves questions like, what would be cool if I tried this on? Or do I like the way that I'm showing up in my life now? Or do I want to make a change? And it doesn't even have to be around parenting. See, like, I don't even want to just talk about parenting, although obviously that's on my mind a lot with a toddler now pregnant. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm pregnant right now. This is wild. But truly, it's like, I don't know what your journey is, but you might have a question in the back of your mind that you've been asking yourself, like, I wonder if I was in this industry, or if I started this business or this podcast, or if I started this newsletter or whatever that might look like, And if you let yourself drift off, there might be something unexpected that comes up. Like when I let myself drift off and I was like, if I could build any sort of career, I'm really passionate about real estate. And I have been for a long time. But for some reason, I was like, oh, well, I know people in that industry and like good for them, but this is what I do. But when I asked myself, like, is there something that I'm mildly curious about that I think I could get really great at, that I would really love the way that I could build it while also being with our kids? And, honestly, with like AI and everything that's changing in the world, I'm like, physical people need physical houses or physical places to vacation. So it just feels like an industry that I'm excited about and I've always believed in. And, if you know our story, you know that, I've always been in this space where everything that I did to earn income, required me to be on. So like even the courses that I did, they were never evergreen courses, meaning like I did live Zoom calls in the courses when I was helping podcasters. My memberships, I always had live calls, one-on-one coaching, masterminds, keynote speaking events, all that stuff required me to be on, obviously podcasting. And I loved it. And I didn't want to change my business model, but back then, even 5 years ago, I remember thinking in my head, like to the future when we would be in this stage where we were having kids and I wanted to give myself more options. So because of that, we started planning, like, let's take active income from this business and let's invest it into real estate so it could create more passive income for us. And then we could, figure out what else we wanted to do. So while I did not expect that I would actually want to get into this industry, I did not expect that I would want to swing the pendulum to full mom mode. I never expected that I would close empowerHER, start another podcast, realize that wasn't aligned and come back to this because this is what's really lighting me up. Here we are, right? Sometimes we need to be open to unexpected opportunities or, packages that come in unexpected wrapping. I don't know if that was a good analogy. I might have gone too far with that, but you know what I mean? So I think 2025 for a lot of us, like when I talk to girlfriends and just people in the community, like I just feel like a lot of us had a hard 2025 in some capacity. I'm actually going to record another podcast episode for later this month that's going to talk about like how I'm kind of mapping out a vision for 2026 in a really fun way. But I think a lot of us like had some heaviness in 2025 or we grew a lot or we shed a lot. And it's like now it almost just feels like this, for me, this pregnancy, and for you, maybe it's just a decision, a line in the sand decision where I'm like, I just kind of want to do things differently. But at the same time, I want to honor the parts of me that are really me and me with empowerHER and this community. Like, you were the first person that, like, outside of obviously like my immediate family and friends, that like, I was like, I want to tell the empowerHER community that I'm pregnant because if you've been along on this journey, you know how much I got rocked by those miscarriages. And I know some of you can connect with that in your own story. I was like, I can't wait to tell them. And I can't wait to talk about this. And because I just love this community so much and we've grown up together. A lot of you I know have listened into the show for years. I started it when I was 29 and now I'm 36, a toddler mom with one on the way. Like my life is so different. And I know yours is too, regardless of how long we've been connected. I do think there's so much value in these transparent conversations that are very come with me. Let's figure out life together. And I'm excited to be new again, right? On this podcast for years, we've talked about how important it is not to compare yourself to a prior version of yourself when the circumstances were different. And a lot of that applies to this stage of life that I'm in, and maybe you're in too. I'm going to be starting a brand new career path in real estate. Like I'm going through this coursework and I'm like, what the F is that? Google, right? Or ChatGPT, explain this to me. And so it's new. I'm going to be a beginner. And I think there's so much growth that comes from that I'm so excited to be in this season so that I can share with you what I'm learning so you can apply it in your own life too, because this podcast has always been about us chatting like we're girlfriends, drinking spicy margaritas. Like I'm drinking a mocktail, woo, but you know what I mean? So I'm excited to be back. I wanted to break this first episode into 2 separate parts because I also want to get a little bit more tactical about some of the realizations that I've had in the last 6 months and how beneficial I think it can be to sometimes take a break and recalibrate in a world where I feel like consistency is preached so much, right? Like be consistent, show up, show up, show up. I get that. And I've preached that in prior seasons, but I also do think sometimes if you're feeling pulled to take a break, to recalibrate, to quit something. Quitting something is not often celebrated in our culture. Like, don't be a quitter is what you hear. But sometimes quitting things gives you the perspective and gives you the distance away from something where then you can actually say like, wait a second, I missed that. Or this is how I want to do it differently. You know, and that's really how I feel about this 6 months away from empowerHER is I learned so much. I evolved so much. I feel as if I can add so much more value to you in a different way. But at the same time, in a lot of the same ways, because the girl that I am is this come with me, let's figure out life together. I know that some of you are going to be so excited that this show is back. Please tell me if you are. Like send me a DM, tag it on Instagram stories. I'm really excited to be back. But you know, some of you are going to be so excited because you're like, this is my girl. She gets it. She gets me. And I just want you to feel seen, especially in the world that we live in right now. There's so much negativity and there's so much going on, but there's also so much good. And on the show, I want to look for the good. I want to highlight the good and I want to keep it really real and talk still about those ugly cry bathroom moments, you know, where you're sitting on the bathroom floor and your mascara is getting into your mouth and you're choking on your spit and you're like, what am I doing with my life? Like I still am having those moments. Trust me, over the last 6 months, I've had those moments, girl. Also, because I'm just wrapping up my first trimester, I am so emotional. I swear to you, if I see like an old couple holding hands, I will cry because I'm so happy for them to be old and married. And I'll look at my husband and be like, is that going to be us, babe? You know? So like, anyways, I'm excited for some fun together. I'm excited for a wide range of topics, really cool conversations. You know, if you look back on the catalog of empowerHER, we've had some of the most incredible guests on this show. And I really think that I was doing a disservice to this community of women that are not moms, or don't want to be moms, right? Or are not in the stage where that's where they're at right now. Maybe that's a future stage. Like I was doing a disservice by niching, when in reality, I'm so many things. I'm a mom, yes, and that's so important to me, but I'm so many other things that I want to talk about. And so I'm sharing this in real time because I think sometimes when it's messy, it's more relatable and it's honest and hopefully can feel more inspiring to you to live out your messy, right? Like I record these episodes and like if you're watching this on YouTube, you can tell I don't have notes in front of me, right? Like I'm recording this because I'm just like, this is what I want to talk about with you. This is how I feel like we're just chatting. Like I picture like we're literally sitting across from each other right now, except for I am in my son's playroom with one wall that has wallpaper. This wallpaper was for the Seasons podcast because if you're watching on YouTube, it has like little leaves, which is cute, but I feel like it still goes with empowerHER. So we're just going to roll with it, right? I'm pregnant. I'm a toddler. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't have time to do wallpaper right now, so we're rolling with it. But truly, I'm excited to be back. This is part 1. Part 2, again, is going to be a little bit more tactical, some things that I think that you can use in your life. But really, I just wanted to share the exciting news, to tell you I'm back. These podcasts are going to be releasing every week. I'm not going anywhere. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. And thank you for rooting for me. Thank you for being along on this crazy ride of all these pivots. Thank you for understanding that I'm a human just like you, who's figuring it out as I go. And I think there's a lot of beauty in that. I think at least I am. I'm so tired of like picture perfect. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing all the time. Humans who pretend like their shit's always together. Our shit's not always together. And that's the beauty of life. Imagine if everything went exactly as we planned. It's not supposed to go the way that we planned. It's supposed to be even better. I truly believe that. So I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm so excited to be back. If you loved this episode, share it. You know, send me a DM, come find me, and let's celebrate that empowerHER's back and better than ever. See you on part 2.